everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Nitro Corner. I am Paul, the Nitro Skywers. Glad that you could join us. We got ourselves a very interesting show tonight. We'll be discussing the documentary I Like to Hurt People from 1977 that I posted a few weeks ago. I'll give you a little history behind that. And we'll talk about the phenomenon known as AJ. But first, I got some 1CW news for you folks. So let's begin. We begin with the D-Line. Of course, the D-Line on September 15th at 1CW's Cavalcade of Champions will battle their hated rivals, the Nigerian Nightmares, for the 1CW Tag Team titles. But most recently, I got a message from a certain 1CW wrestler has asked me on behalf of the D-Line to announce that they are in a campaign to try to get themselves into the Ring of Honor Tag Team Tournament. Now, Jim Cornette, executive producer and commissioner of Ring of Honor, has asked you, the fans, to select teams that want to be in the Ring of Honor tournament, and that he will make the decision on whether that team will enter. Well, folks, let's pull it together for the D-Line. Of course, your 1CW Tag Team Champions, who made a very impressive debut in Ring of Honor just a few weeks ago. So, folks, what I've done is in the favorite section, I have another gentleman from England, I believe, also voting for the D-Line, along with information on how you can vote for the D-Line. But I'll tell you also some information here. If you want the D-Line to be a part of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Tournament, you can Twitter at twitter.com/Ring of Honor for Ring of Honor, or the D-Line's Twitter page at twitter.com/DLineBLKRED. Folks, get your Twitter on and put in the D-Line for the Ring of Honor Tag Tournament. And let's vote for the D-Line, and in hopes of them winning that Ring of Honor Tag Team Tournament. And you will see the D-Line as well on September 15th. Now, for more information, of course, as I mentioned, go to those Twitter pages and put them in there, or you can watch the video from the gentleman from England under the favorite section of this channel. Now, moving on to another interesting topic. This past week, I got a message from Shawn Hardy, who basically agreed with me that there is going to be a no-holds-barred type of six-man tag team match involving Team USA versus the Hardy faction. Now, he made reference in that page, in that message, about an old man from Indie Roundup that is supposedly going to be the manager in question for Team USA. Now, I have not made this official yet, and Shawn Hardy can make all the guesses he wants to as to who will be the manager. Who knows? It could be the old guy from Indie Roundup. I don't know who he is. It could be AW himself from All World Productions, the manager, of course, of the Primetime Players. It could be Vicky Guerrero. Who knows? It could be even Jim Cornette, or maybe Precious Paul Ellering, or J.J. Dillon. Who knows? But if Shawn Hardy thinks it's the old guy from Indie Roundup, I think he better go back to the drawing board, because I don't think whoever this old guy from Indie Roundup, which is a discussion group on Facebook, by the way, you can check them out at facebook.com/Indie Roundup. If Shawn Hardy thinks it's that guy, who I don't know who this guy is, then he's in for an interesting night, to say the very least. But he needs to keep his options open. And when we find out who the manager is, you'll find out here. But I cannot confirm about this old guy from Indie Roundup being the manager of Team USA. And that's my 1CW news. Don't forget, 1CW's Cavalcade of Champions, September 15th. I'll try to find out more information about ticket sales and when and where the event will take place. Hopefully, if Shawn Hardy can hear this, where is it going to take place, what time the card will start, when tickets go on sale. That would truly be appreciated. Thank you very much. Now, that is the 1CW news for this week. Now, let's move on to our topics this week. About two to 3 weeks ago, I posted an additional added video after the birthday blowout, the documentary of I Like to Hurt People. This came from the classic 1PW Wrestling channel on YouTube. They're a great channel. Make sure you check them out. They're very good. I Like to Hurt People was a documentary that was made around 1977 at the height of the Sheik's big-time wrestling promotion up in Detroit, Michigan. It was the ECW of the mid to late 70s. They were hardcore before hardcore was cool. And it was ran, of course, by the Sheik himself, Edward Farhat, the master of the pencil, the fire, the powder. His feuds with Mark Lewin, Bobo Brazil, Dick the Bruiser, Dusty Rhodes are of legend. And of course, Andre the Giant. Now, this documentary was to show what wrestling was like in the 1970s on the independent circuit, where it sold out every week at the Cobo Hall. It featured some of the well-known stars like Dusty Rhodes, the Sheik, and Dick the Bruiser, and the lesser-known wrestlers, the local celebrities like Captain Ed George. Now, for those of you who don't know who Captain Ed George is the son of the Sheik himself, Edward Farhat. That's right, Ed George Farhat, Captain Ed George, is the son of the original Sheik. He only competed for like about 3 to 4 years, beginning back in 1977 to 1980. I believe he was the big-time wrestling heavyweight champion. He had an interesting feud at the time of that documentary with the Bulldog, Don Kent, another indie legend from the 1970s, that competed in many promotions and known for being a little bit eccentric, to say the very least. Now, that was one of the first wrestling documentaries in the history of professional wrestling, along with Vern Gagne's The Wrestler. But although I believe it is a Hollywood production, I believe I Like to Hurt People was the actual first ever pro wrestling documentary. I could be wrong. For those of you who might want to help me out with the first ever pro wrestling documentary, just send in your comments. I would truly appreciate it. But I do believe I Like to Hurt People is the first ever professional wrestling documentary on record. And you can still catch that under the favorite section on my channel, or go to the Classic 1PW channel, or type in I Like to Hurt People under the keywords. You'll be able to find it. Now on to my final subject this week. Let's talk about the phenomenon known as AJ. One of the most brilliant angles I've seen in the last 5 years. Here's the situation. AJ's in the middle of a love triangle. She is going to be the guest referee this Sunday at Money in the Bank between CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Now, AJ last Monday wanted to marry CM Punk. Oh, I'm so in love with Daniel, you know, I'm so in love with CM Punk. He's so wonderful, yada, yada, yada. He's so extreme. And then there's Daniel Bryan. I'm going to pay that you-know-what back for what he did to me. I like that. And she's crazy. That's the good part of it. Well, anyway, CM Punk turned down her wedding proposal. What'd she do? She slaps the taste out of his mouth. Tremendous. And then Daniel Bryan, with his arms extended, like, AJ, come home. Come home, AJ. And there's AJ with a smirk and a little smile, smacks the taste out of Daniel Bryan's mouth. Daniel Bryan's looking like, oh my God, oh my God, what? As if you didn't know that was coming, Daniel. Come on. And of course, AJ in the middle, smiling. Yes. The crowd ate it up. This is what the brilliance of AJ is. This is one of the best angles I've seen in 5 years. She is a very multi-talented athlete and wrestler. What a great personality. Fits perfectly with that angle. And you can bet AJ will have something to do. Excuse me there. AJ will probably have something to do in influencing the final decision, as she will be the guest referee, of course, at Money in the Bank when CM Punk defends against Daniel Bryan. Should be real interesting. Pay attention to AJ. Things are just cooking in that situation. Absolutely phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. And I invite AJ to come to 1CW. We'd be sure to glad to have her here in the state of Delaware. Well, That is it for this edition of the Nitro Corner. Thank you so very much for joining us this week. My name is Paul the Nitro Skivers, and I'll see you next time. So long, everybody.